Hi, this is Dr. Lena coming to you again from Sedona, Arizona. And I wanted to address one question that several people have asked, which is why is a medical missionary involved in Bible studies in Angola? Just by way of background, for those of you who don't know me, I did a PhD in molecular and cellular pathology at UAB. And then I finished with my MD also at UAB in 2012. But before both of those, I was an ordained minister. So I really have a heart for medical missions. It's what I believe I am called to do. I did my first missions trip in Haiti before I graduated from med school, and we were on the backside of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. All the supplies we had were what we had in our truck, and we took care of patients. We laughed, we had a good time, and I felt like that was the place for me. Because of that experience, I decided to do family medicine, and so I did rural family medicine in a community in Centerville, Alabama, at Cahaba Medical Care and was able to do a few more missions trips during my training for family medicine. This was in South Sudan. This was also in South Sudan where I learned to do C-sections. This was in Zambia. And I finally graduated from residency and was commissioned to be a missionary by my church. I was sent out by my church, Centerville Baptist Church. Sorry, I was sent out by Centerville Baptist Church, and also by the directors of our residency program, who are amazing in their own right. I connected with Samaritan's Purse, who has a post residency program, and they were in the business of sending residents immediately after residency. So I didn't go get a job. I went straight to the mission field, and that's how I ended up in Angola. I worked at a hospital called Kalakimbi Hospital, which was a missions hospital built in somewhere around the 1950s or so. And I worked with a couple of other doctors, Dr. Priscilla and Daniel Cummings, who are good friends of mine now. So the three of us were responsible for that 200-bed hospital until another Angolan doctor joined us a year later or so. And so there were four doctors for that 200-bed hospital, which was quite a lot, as you might imagine. So I saw patients, I interacted with the nursing students, I got into a little bit of teaching. It was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed the scenery. I mean, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times, right? It was a lot of things that were extremely difficult, but a lot of things that were extremely fulfilling and rewarding at the same time at that hospital. And so one of the things that I began to reflect upon while I was there was medical missions and what that meant for me. Uh, Specifically, taking care of patients is extremely important and is a gift, a skill set that I have gained, right? That allows me to do that. However, my heart is in missions, right? I want to see the gospel of Jesus Christ shared across the world. That's what I do. So learning how to do them both was brand new for me. And I thought that I knew what I was doing because I took a couple of classes and I did a missionary training before I left, but like no, that didn't really get me where I needed to be. One of the things that I learned while I was there in Angola, of course, different cultures are different. So they have a power-based culture in Angola that I didn't quite understand. What it meant was basically because I have this white coat, I am the person in power, right? And so anytime I offer something to a patient, their response to me would be yes, regardless of what I offer. So if I offer them Jesus Christ, if I offer them medicine, it doesn't matter. Their answer is yes, because I am the doctor. That's how they respond. So I don't know, or I didn't know if they were actually receiving the message of the gospel in the way that I was intending to present it, right? I think that people should have an option to accept the gospel, and it shouldn't be like a foregone conclusion because they think I might not treat their baby if they don't say yes to me. So I began to look for different ways to share the gospel and figure out what exactly that meant. These are my friends, Janie and Carlos. They were not married at the time. We just were good friends. We were all good friends. And we did life together. We did ministry together. We ate together. We prayed together. They really supported me as I began to ask those kinds of questions, specifically about their culture, right? Because they're both Angolan. So I learned from them how to minister to Angolans in that context, because they also are ministers to their own people, which was, this was an absolutely just a wonderful opportunity for us to engage together. One of the things that Carlos asked me to do for a ministry that he was starting was teach a Bible study. So I took a Bible study that I had learned about while I was in Birmingham, Alabama, and used that as the basis for a reproducible, right, 12-week small group Bible study called Freedom. And this Bible study really goes over your perception of God, what you think about Him, as well as what He thinks about you, how God loves you, and how He designed you, all of the really pivotal points about your own identity in Christ, what that means, and how we are to connect with Him and connect with others in the world. And so this Freedom Bible Study is really transformational. And I was really grateful to see how we were able to pretty much transplant it from the U.S. to the culture in Angola. One of the things that we do say is, if you haven't done the conference, you haven't done freedom. So at the end of the 12-week Bible study, there is a 2-day conference that comes after it. And one of the things that we were able to do was have the 12-week Bible study and the 2-day conference. This was in May of 2021 with our first 9 students. And here's Carlos and there's Janie. And we were all very excited. And they were intending to continue this Bible study for the people that they were ministering to, which is exactly what they did. At that time, I was able to leave Angola to return home to the US, and they continued. And Freedom was able to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. It has been phenomenal to see the growth of Freedom. This is only in Lubango, Angola. Lubango is one of the second largest city in Angola. Here I am. This is May 2024. So 3 years after our initial class, I was able to visit Angola to support the conference, and it was absolutely wonderful. So, just about this time, a few months before, I began to realize that there's more that I needed to be doing with my life. I was here in the U.S. I was working as a physician, making money and supporting freedom in Angola, and I just felt like there was more that I needed to do. For me, that more looked like continuing this pursuit of making disciples who make disciples, right? Which is what our freedom small groups have done in Lubango, Angola. We've made disciples who've continued to make other disciples. And not only that, but they've also used freedom as an evangelistic tool, which is not something that had typically been done here in the US. So learning how to be flexible in different cultures has absolutely been a thrill ride. Speaking of a thrill ride, I did decide to give up the job that I had been working, and to follow what I believe was the next phase of my life, which is to not work full time as a physician here in the U.S., but to see exactly what is next. For me, what's next looks like starting a nonprofit organization that would support the small groups that we are currently doing, especially because of what I'm about to say next. So our nonprofit organization is called Transformational Teachings, and we are 501c3 approved nonprofit here in the U.S. That was absolutely transformational to be able to start Transformational Teachings, because we needed more support than I was able to afford on my own, as pretty much the only person who has been financially supporting um, all of this work up until now. So one of the things that has come out of these small groups is our ability to spread to other locations. So this is our first small group in Lisbon that I was able to go over and support when they had their conference. And so they're in Portugal. And then this semester, we're also expanding. So Lubango, Angola is here, and this is where the majority of the small groups have been held up until this year, except for also Portugal. But now we have a small group in Namib, Angola. We have two small groups in Luanda, Angola, and another small group in Wambu, Angola. So we've got four different locations in Angola proper. And then we have another location in Cape Verde because they really wanted to have access to this tool to use to engage and evangelize people there. So Cape Verde is just a small island off the coast of Africa. And then, in addition, we have two locations in Brazil. One is in Fortaleza, Brazil, where several missionaries are, Brazilian missionaries, are interested in ministering to people in the red light district. And they have been doing that for several years. And they wanted to use freedom as a tool to continue to do that for discipleship and evangelism there. And in addition to Fortaleza, we also are sharing freedom with Maceió, Brazil as well. So we now have six locations, which is why it was great for me to be able to stop working and to go ahead and do this nonprofit full time. So Fortaleza, Namibia, and Wambu, these are what our small groups look like. I just got these pictures about a week or two ago, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It just makes my heart so happy to see that the small groups are happening, and we're preparing for conferences in November. So to answer the question, why is a medical doctor doing doing small group Bible studies in different parts of the world? Well, I mean, I believe that this, for me, is what obedience looks like, to make disciples who make disciples, which is what the Great Commission calls us to do, not just as ministers of the gospel, but as Christians in general. And so this is where we are right now. I will be going hopefully to Brazil to support their first conference in Fortaleza in the fall, or in November, because it is the fall now. But in November, I hopefully will be going to Fortaleza. And if any of you are interested in donating or supporting this effort, you are more than welcome to do so at our website, tftus.org, or you can use this QR code to send a donation directly. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this answers your question. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to let me know. Okay, bye.